If someone were to come up and ask me what my all-time favorite video game ever was, it would definitely be the first Dishonored game. But if you were to ask me what my second favorite video game was, it would definitely be Don't Starve. I absolutely love Don't Starve. I've been playing this game ever since I was like, I want to say 16, and this game is like over like a decade old, which is really crazy to think about. And I always wanted to make a dedicated video about this game, but I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do for a video on this game. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make like an essay, a 100 days type thing, or a challenge thing. I decided in the end to just make a standard playthrough where I basically just narrate over footage of me playing just a normal playthrough of Don't Start Together. Now, I do have a goal for this video, or this series hopefully, where I wanted to try and defeat either the Ancient Fuel Weaver or the Celestial Champion, because even though I've been playing this game ever since I was in high school, I've never actually beat either of those two bosses. So I want to hopefully be able to at least defeat one of those bosses and like complete their quest line. And yeah, if that's something you're interested in, feel free to stick around and watch me, an extremely mid-tier player of Don't Starve Together, try and probably fail to defeat two of the hardest bosses in the game. So, you know, if that sounds pretty interesting to you, feel free to stick around, because I'm gonna tell you right now, things are definitely probably gonna go really bad. So I hope you enjoy. Don't Starve Together has 18 different playable characters that you can play as, each with their own upsides and downsides. For this particular series, I'm gonna be playing as one of my all-time favorite characters in Don't Starve, which is Woody. Woody is a lumberjack who is afflicted with a terrible curse. I won't exactly tell you what the curse is, as one of my all-time favorite gaming experiences was going into a playthrough completely blind as Woody and not knowing what the curse is, and then seeing what it was. It was just really amusing. So I don't want to like take that away from you if you happen to be one of the few people who don't know. On day one, we spend the day gathering some basic resources like grass and flint so we can make different tools to help us survive. We also try to explore most of the map, as one of the most important aspects of Don't Starve is exploration, especially in the early days, as you want to get as much of the map mapped out as possible so you know where all the important stuff is. This is something that you're going to see that I'm very terrible at, because I'm a kleptomaniac and I just pick up absolutely everything I need even when I don't need it. So yeah, if that bothers you, I'm sorry in advance. I killed a mowworm that was going to try and pick up this piece of flint just because it was there, and it's also a really good source of food. Food is another important aspect of Don't Starve Together. It's actually one of the most easy things to manage in Don't Starve, which is ironic because, you know, the name of the game is Don't Starve. You would expect hunger to be an issue in a game called Don't Starve, but it kind of isn't. For the early days, most of our food is going to be things like morsels, carrots, and berries, you know, just basic stuff. I'm walking around chopping down a few trees and collecting some logs that I'm going to use later, and I eventually come across a suspicious marble piece. These are extremely important for one of my end goals, since this marble piece is used to summon one of the bosses we need to defeat the Ancient Fuel Weaver. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. As I'm walking around collecting some more grass and twigs, I eventually decide to light some of the nearby trees on fire. This is so I can collect some charcoal, which could be used to craft either drying racks or crockpots, which are really good sources of food as they give you access to crockpot dishes and jerky. Jerky is one of my favorite food sources in this game because it helps you restore health and sanity, and it's just a really good thing to have. Yeah, it's a top 8 quality commentary we got going on right here. Another thing you can use charcoal for is to craft one of Woody's signature items that he has from the skill tree. which is the walking stick, which is basically a handheld item that Woody can craft that basically makes it so that he moves faster while he's holding it. It gets outclassed by some of the late game options, but for the early game it's really good. So yeah, after these trees finish burning, I'm gonna get the wooden walking stick. As I finish chopping up the burnt trees, I come across a sinkhole, which is an entrance to an underground area known as the caves. That's another important area that I have to go back to later. I'm not gonna go in there yet because it's extremely dangerous, but yeah. In addition to building the walking stick, I also make myself a wooden helmet. A wooden helmet is another Woody exclusive item that he can craft, which is basically like a football helmet, but cheaper and easier to mass produce. It's a really good item for Woody, since he doesn't really need football helmets thanks to that curse that I mentioned before. Again, I'm not gonna spoil what that curse is. You're just gonna have to wait and see what it is. While I'm talking about Woody, I might as well also mention his axe, Lucy. Lucy is an axe that Woody starts with that has infinite durability and chops twice as fast as a normal axe. She also talks, as you might have seen the red text appearing above Woody's head. That's Lucy talking. And the thing that really sold me on Woody's character is how he's a lumberjack who has an axe that constantly whispers in his ear to kill trees, and it's just extremely charming. I just love this character so much, dude. I also came across the Mosaic Biome. I think it's called the Mosaic Biome. I always refer to this place as the quarry because that's just what in my head I always called it. This is a really good biome since it has access to these rocks which you can mine for gold and stuff. Again, just like charcoal, gold is super important, as you could use to make science machines, alchemy engines, and basically just like the higher tier level crafting stuff. It's basically just like, imagine the science machine as like a crafting table in Minecraft, and the alchemy engine like an upgraded version of that. So I'm gonna try and stay in this biome for a little bit and try to collect as much gold as I possibly can carry, and then I'm gonna bounce. So yeah, I'll let you know if anything crazy happens while I'm here. On day 2, after I walked around for a bit, I came across a tall bird. Tall birds are super aggressive, territorial assholes that will kill me in an instant if I let my guard down around them. I try and collect some of this gold, and I desperately don't want to fuck with tall birds, since they could easily kill me in like a few hits if I get too cocky. Sure enough, as I'm mining this here boulder to collect some gold, one of the tall birds notices me because I got close to their nest, and another tall bird starts chasing me, so I'm panicking at this point, getting chased by like 3 tall birds. I'm panicking so hard that I forgot to equip my walking stick as I was just trying to get away. So yeah, thankfully these tall birds are not that fast, so I was able to get away relatively easily. So yeah, don't fuck with tall birds, dudes. They're just super aggressive. They're a really good source of food though, so I'll probably come back here later to get some meat. I came across an area with a ton of moleworm burrows, and I was super excited to see this, because this is, I think, area where Chester could appear. I spent a couple minutes searching around this place trying to find him, but I didn't have any luck. I don't know if I'm like dumb or I missed him or something, but I think like if you find this in one of your worlds, you might have like a good chance of finding Chester here, so just bear that in mind. Since I brought him up, Chester is a mob that you could find in the overworld in Don't Starve, who is basically like a chest monster. He's essentially like a portable chest that follows you around if you're carrying his special item known as the eye bone. So yeah, I definitely really want to find Chester if I can. Even though I didn't have much luck finding Chester in this area, I did come across a savanna biome with some beefalo. Beefalo are a really good resource in this game, since you could use them for food and warmth and stuff like that. I also found a wormhole, which took me right back to the Mosaic Biome, which is not where I wanted to be. So I headed back to Savannah biome, and I was gonna craft a science machine here so I can shave some of the beefalo for their wool and also just get a bunch of useful stuff built. After I finished shaving the beefalo and crafting my items, I came across a huge herd of beefalo. This would be a really good spot to set up a base, but I don't want to set it up too close to the herd since the beefalo are neutral right now, but they become aggressive during spring time when they go into heat. I also come across a spider den, which is super important since I can kill these spiders for silk, spider glands, and monster meat. Usually monster meat isn't a really good source of food since it hurts you and damages your sanity whenever you eat it, but Woody could actually use it to make some character exclusive items. As I finished exploring the savannah, I come across a touchstone with a bunch of pig heads on a stick. This is a really good find since whenever you die in Don't Starve, usually it's permanent, but this touchstone, if you haunt it when you're a ghost, you could come back to life. Yeah, I also craft a helmet, not a helmet, a hammer to hammer down these pig heads on a stick so I can collect the pig skin so I can use to make hopefully a hand bat, which is just a really good weapon. It's better than what I got now, which is a spear. I also find this wormhole, which takes me to the deciduous biome, and right next to that is the dragonfly desert, which is super good. On top of that, I also find the Glommer statue, which has a pan flute next to it. The pan flute is a really good item. It's basically like a flute that you could play, that whenever you play it, it puts all nearby mobs to sleep, which includes some of the bosses. I don't know if it affects all of the bosses, but it affects a lot of them. So that would definitely be useful later. Since I also found the Glommer statue there, it also tells me that the Pig King is most likely around here somewhere. So I spent the rest of the day exploring this biome trying to find the Pig King. But I don't find him until later. As it turns out, he's right next to the Dragonfly Desert. So yeah, I also, because it's nighttime, is fast approaching, I accidentally panicked and put down a fire pit that I pre-crafted, which I was going to use for my base, so that's annoying. But still, it's really good that I found the Pig King since you could trade trinkets to him for gold. So yeah, I'm thinking since I found the Pig King in that wormhole, I'm going to set up base on top of that wormhole, since usually when you are looking for bases and Don't Starve, the best places to base are usually next to really important things or nearby a beefalo herd for protection. And I figured since this place is really close by to a beefalo herd, and also I have a wormhole which gives me easy access to the Pig King and the Dragonfly Desert, I figured this was a good spot to base. Once I have the foundation for my base set up, I decided to go out exploring a bit, and immediately I come across another one of the suspicious marble pieces, so I'm gonna have to come back for this later. And by come back for this later, I mean I just literally need to leave my base. I also didn't notice it right there, but I accidentally set up my base next to Bee Queen, which is one of the raid bosses. I don't think that's that much of an issue though, since Bee Queen only spawns whenever you hammer her hive, so that shouldn't be that much of an issue, but still it's really nice that I have that there. I also found a swamp, and I just doing my usual thing, picking up shit I don't need, and I eventually decide to kill some of these tentacles for their must meat and hopefully get a tentacle spike, which is a really good weapon that you can only get for killing these tentacles. It takes a bit because I only have a spear, but these tentacles are relatively easy to kill. All you need to do is just hit them once and then back away, like I'm doing right here. So this tentacle goes down pretty easy, and I get some monster meat and a tentacle spike, so yeah, that's good. I just noticed that I tend to say "so yeah" a lot, If that annoys you, I'm very sorry about that. I come across a boon, which are basically just like deposits of some really good resources. This one has a garden hat and some manure, but I just hammered the skeleton for the bone shards since I could use those to craft an umbrella. I also just realized I'm an idiot, since also a part of the boon was this guarded thingamajig, which we used to set up a farm. I forgot to mention that earlier because I was an idiot and glossed over it. So there's that. Sometime later, I'm exploring this forest and I come across a totally normal tree, which, you know, is a pretty accurate name for what I'm looking at right now. You could chop these down and get some living logs, which you could use to make a shadow manipulator and eventually dark swords, which are basically one of the best weapons in the game. We can't make that right now since, again, we need like a shadow manipulator, which requires some living logs, a purple gem, and some nightmare fuel, so that will come later. I come across the junkyard, which is a new area that was added in the most recent update at the time of recording this video. This is a boss arena that has a boss known as the Scrappy Werepig that we only get access to after we defeat the Nightmare Werepig, which is located in the caves. So I just collect some juicy berry bushes and bounce. Even though I could rummage around in the junkyard for some of the gears and stuff there, I decided against it since I already know where the place is, and also, as you could probably tell by my inventory, I'm extremely terrible at managing it. So yeah, there's that. After nearly dying from those spiders, I come across another sinkhole, which is right over there in another swamp area. I don't think the swamp is that big, but more importantly, I actually find this set piece right here with the marble statues. So those suspicious marble pieces that we saw earlier, we have to take them to this area in order to spawn a set of bosses, which are the Shadow Knight, the Shadow Rook, and the Shadow Bishop, and we have to kill them in order to get a special item which we need to get in order to get to the Ancient Fuel Weaver. Does that make sense? I also hammered this statue right here thinking it was the bishop statue. I only just realized that I was hammering the wrong statue, so you know, I'm an idiot. So there's that. Not only did I manage to find the marble statue set piece, but I just noticed after checking the map that it's literally right next to my base, which is gonna make transporting the suspicious marbles super easy once we decide to do that. As I'm trying to organize my inventory a little bit, I decide in spur of the moment sort of thing to kill this beefalo so I can get some meat and the wool. After the beefalo is dead, I then spend some of my charcoal to craft a crock pot and some drying racks so I can make some jerky. I only build 2 drying racks for now, as I want to use the rest of the meat I got from the beefalo to make a ham bat, which is basically a weapon that has infinite durability. Because instead of the way the hand bat works is instead of having durability, it has a spoilage time, kind of like a food item. It starts off with like some really good damage, but the damage slowly gets worse over time. It's a really solid weapon, and you should always try to have one available since it's got infinite durability, so you don't really need to worry that much about the weapon degrading over time, you know what I mean? I also work on my farm a bit, just get a basic thing sort of set up here. After working on my farm for a bit, I decide to dig out some of the turf over here since I want to turn this area into sort of a storage area to store all the crap I'm not using. As you see, it's fairly big. Uh, that's because I fully expect to pick up a bunch of shit I don't need. So, you know, the more space the better. I don't really have a solid vision for what I want this base to look like. I'm just kind of just doing basic square sort of stuff, because that's just kind of what works for me. After realizing that my wood supplies is pretty low, I start planting a bunch of pine cones in this area over here so I can have a steady supply of wood coming in. And to wrap up this video, I'm just going to set up some of my juicy berry bushes while I give some of my closing thoughts. I wanted this video to be a little bit longer since we didn't get to see Woody's curse manifest, and I was really looking forward to that. But I was recording for about an hour, and I don't want this video to be too long, you know, since I don't want to take up too much of your time. But yeah, I really had fun making this, and I'm really looking forward to do this again. So if you watched for this long, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good day.